Two reasons I've found that a lot of people don't start a healing restorative diet for their autoimmune disease, whether it's Hashimoto's or another one, is because they either think it's going to be too hard, take too much time, or it's going to not be good. Who wants to start a diet that's going to be disgusting, right? Not me. However, when you meal prep, that can take care of a lot of this, because when you cook at the time of dinner, like, so if you're cooking for tonight's dinner at dinner time and you do this every single night, yes, it is going to take a lot more time than if you meal prep items ahead of time and have like a freezer stash or stuff ready to go already in your freezer or your pantry or your fridge. So that way at dinner time, it doesn't take that much time every single night. And then also by meal prepping, you can slowly build up the variety that you have of various meals. So you have different sauces and different meats and different side dishes and all kinds of stuff that you can mix and match and put together. And now suddenly you have a huge amount of things to choose from that really ups the deliciousness and the anti-boredom factor. A while ago, I recorded a bunch of different videos for a bonus for my AIP breakfast book. And I want to share those with you because they are some meal prep techniques that I really find helpful. These are not your spend all day Sunday prepping and getting on your feet and feeling so tired and hating life afterwards. These are easy things that you can do while cooking your dinner for tonight and like making extra, so that way you have more to go for later. Or if you happen to have 10-15 minutes at some point in time and just want to get some stuff ready and in your freezer. But this can build up a huge freezer stash for you, and then you have that variety and it's not so hard and time consuming at night. So let me go ahead and show you those videos. They do reference in this video, but I'm just gonna compile them all together so that you have them all together in one. In this video, I'm going to show you how to individually portion out items, freeze, and then put it into a freezer-safe container or bag. This method is really good for certain things like sauces or soups or stews, where you can you need them in smaller amounts, not in like a huge family size amount or something, that you maybe want to take a tablespoon of something like a pesto later on and put it over a dish. And you don't want to have a huge thing that you have to like thaw out a huge block. You just need a little bit. So let me go ahead and show you. So you'll just take the cooked item and portion it out into the container, whether it's an ice cube tray or super cube or a silicone muffin tray like this. I used heart-shaped ones for a sauce. Let them cool if they're heated, and then freeze them for several hours until frozen. And then just pop them out and put them into a bag for long-term storage. In this video, I'm going to show you how to directly freeze things like soups and stews and other things that you can portion out into freezer-safe containers or bags. This is kind of the same as the last video in portioning and then transferring. It's just that you're directly freezing them into the container rather than doing this two-step process. Okay, for this one, you'll take your cooked item and measure out portion sizes. For things like soups, stews, and porridges, I like to do 1.5 to 2 cups. And then you'll pour it directly into the freezer-safe bag or container that you're using. If you're using a bag, you'll want to get all the air out and flatten it. If you're using a glass container, make sure to leave some headspace, some empty airspace at the top to allow for expansion. And then if you're using the bags, it's best to lay them flat in either a baking dish like this or on a baking sheet like this. And you can just continue stacking these so that way they're all flat. But that way when they're frozen, they can stack like this and they'll take up a lot less room in your freezer. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use parchment paper as another way of freezing items. This one is great when you don't have a lot of freezer space, or if you're trying to freeze items that may stick together but don't necessarily need to have to go through the whole entire quick freeze, flash freeze process. This one is really, really great for things like siete almond flour tortillas in the grocery store. We get them at Costco, but they come in this gigantic pack of like 40 of them or something. It's not that many, but I go ahead and I put parchment paper in between every two, and then I put it in the freezer so that way I can just take out 2 whenever I need it. Otherwise, they all clump together and then you have so many, and as you try to peel them apart, they break apart. So this way you can just go ahead and just take out 2 and then thaw that in the microwave or on the stove, and you don't have to like break apart pieces, and you just have what you need. It works really well too if you do like a gluten-free bread or something as well, and put that in the freezer too. And this one is simply put a small piece of parchment paper down, put the item down, put another piece of parchment down, and put the item down, and just keep stacking until you have a stack of all your items, and put into a freezer-safe plastic bag for storage. This works well. This is the Euro meat, but just if you're going to do things that are a little bit smaller like this, you may have to do several stacks instead of just one big stack to put them in the bags, but that's all you have to do is just keep on alternating parchment and the items. In this video, I'm going to show you how to individually quick freeze or flash freeze items for long-term storage. This is a great way to have a freezer stash built up of certain items that do really well individually, like pancakes and waffles and scones, and just things that you can take one at a time out of instead of having something in a really big clump. First, you'll cook the items. This is best because that way you can just have them already cooked, and then when you freeze them, all you need to do is just take them out of the freezer and reheat them. You can freeze them on a sheet pan like this. Just spread them out all in the sheet pan so that they're not touching. Or in a baking dish like this if you don't have as much room. Or even on a paper plate if you really don't have a lot of room. Just spread them out so they don't touch that much, and you can easily pull them apart once frozen. And then once you've gotten them frozen, which has been at least 4 hours, then you can take the individual items and put them into a bag. And then put them into the freezer for long-term storage. And as you can see, you can build up quite the freezer stash of really easily accessible things after you do this with several different items. I can make so many different kind of meals using just these things. I really hope that helped. I did reference the AIP diet several times in there. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do the AIP diet to take advantage of those. You can take advantage of those with any diet, no matter what you eat, but it's really helpful if you are doing something like that, especially if you are doing it alone and your family isn't, then you have all of these options. And these are the kind of things that I share inside of Prep and Reset. And you can get Prep and Reset either by itself or inside the Autoimmune Collective. I have all kinds of meal prep guides, step-by-step, things like that. So if you like this kind of stuff, you can always get more by joining one of those. And otherwise, I hope this helped, and I will see you later.